Welcome back. Today, we are diving into one of the most critical topics in AI security, and that is data privacy. AI systems are absolutely hungry for data. That's what they need to learn and get smarter. But that hunger creates a huge challenge. How do we feed the AI while also protecting our most sensitive personal and business information?
And just a quick note before we get started, all of the information we're covering today comes straight from Chapter 3 of the tutorial on AI Security for Organizational Leadership, which is provided by Virtualization Options LLC.
So this really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? It's the big question every leader is asking right now. How in the world do you unlock all the amazing things AI can do without sacrificing the fundamental right to privacy? It is a serious high-stakes balancing act, and today we're going to break down the playbook.
All right, here's our roadmap. First, we'll talk about the unique privacy dilemma that AI creates. Then, we'll get into a whole toolkit of techniques to preserve privacy. After that, we'll look at how to govern all this data, touch on the tricky world of regulatory compliance, and finally, wrap it all up with a blueprint for building AI systems with privacy at their core.
Okay, first up, the AI privacy dilemma. And the main thing to get here is that with AI, we're way beyond traditional data security. This isn't just about firewalls and passwords anymore. It's a whole new ballgame.
So, what makes this so different? Well, AI can do things with data that are just kind of spooky. It can figure out really sensitive things about you, like your health status, from data that seems totally harmless. It can look at a dataset that was supposedly anonymized, find unique patterns, and boom, re-identify who people are. And of course, it can build these incredibly detailed profiles of all of us. Our old privacy methods just weren't designed to handle this.
But it's not all bad news. The good news is that brilliant people have been working on this, and now we have a powerful toolkit of what are called privacy-preserving techniques, built specifically for these modern challenges.
First in our toolkit is differential privacy. Now, this one's really cool because it provides a mathematical guarantee of privacy. The way it works is by injecting a little bit of statistical noise into the data. It's just enough to hide the identity of any one person, but it's not so much that it messes up the overall patterns and insights you need to get from the data. Pretty clever, right? Next, we have federated learning. Imagine trying to train an AI model using data from millions of different smartphones. Instead of sucking up all that sensitive data into one giant, risky server, federated learning flips the script. It sends the AI model out to the phones. The model learns locally, on the device, and then only the learnings, not your raw data, are sent back. It's like learning together without ever sharing your personal notes.
Okay, this next one sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, but I promise you, it's real. It's called homomorphic encryption. For the longest time, to do anything with data, you had to decrypt it first, which created a vulnerable moment. This is a total game changer. It lets you perform calculations and run AI models directly on data while it's still encrypted. The data never has to be exposed. Privacy is locked in from start to finish.
And last in our toolkit for today is synthetic data. Think about it. If you're worried about using real people's data, why not just create a realistic but completely artificial dataset? That's exactly what this does. It generates fake data that has the same statistical patterns as the real thing. This lets you build and test your AI models without ever coming close to actual sensitive information.
Now, having all these fancy tools is one thing, but you need a solid foundation to manage everything, and that brings us to data governance. This is all about setting the rules of the road for how data is handled across your entire AI lifecycle. A really solid governance plan has 5 key steps. You start with data classification and inventory. You've got to know what data you have and how sensitive it is. Then, purpose limitation and consent, meaning you're crystal clear on why you're using it. Number 3 is data minimization. A simple rule: only collect what you absolutely need. Then, you need strong access controls and monitoring to see who's touching the data. And finally, a clear plan for data retention and disposal, so you get rid of data securely when you're done with it.
So why does all this matter? I mean, it can feel like a lot of bureaucracy. But here's the thing. Governance isn't just some policy document sitting on a shelf. It is the absolute operational bedrock of trustworthy AI. Without it, you can't build trust with your customers, you can't prove you're being fair, and you can't stay on the right side of the law. And speaking of the law, that takes us right into our next section: navigating the incredibly complex and constantly changing legal landscape for AI. Let me tell you, this can feel like walking through a minefield. This table gives you a quick snapshot. You've got these huge, overarching frameworks like GDPR in Europe, which gives people the right to have their data erased, and things like the CCPA in California.
Then you've got rules for specific industries, like HIPAA for healthcare. And now, layered on top of all of that, we're seeing brand new AI-specific laws, like the EU AI Act, which brings in tough rules for systems that are considered high risk.
The most important takeaway here is this, and the source material puts it perfectly. Compliance cannot be an afterthought. It's not something you tack on at the very end. Your privacy and legal strategies have to be baked into your AI development right from day one. People call it privacy by design, and honestly, it's non-negotiable today.
So that brings us to our final piece of the puzzle. How do you actually build this stuff? What's the architectural blueprint for creating AI systems where privacy is truly at the center of everything?
A true privacy-first architecture really has 4 core parts. First, all your data storage has to be secure and encrypted, period. Second, your data processing pipelines need to use those privacy-preserving techniques we talked about. Third, how you serve your models and make predictions has to be locked down and secure. And finally, you want to automate your data lifecycle management, so things like deletion requests and retention policies happen automatically. Each of these is a critical layer of defense.
And so we end on a question for you to think about, to take back to your teams. The AI that you're building or relying on, is it really built on a solid foundation of privacy? Or is it more like a house of cards, just waiting for one new regulation or one little data breach to make the whole thing come crashing down?